we decided to do this one because we did the America one last time, chat, but this time we're doing inside UK's prisons. Let's go.
2 years ago, I made a documentary for Channel 4 that showed what life inside prison was really like. Through footage prisoners have sent me filmed on their smuggled-in phones, I'll be revealing how some prison officers are behaving as badly as the prisoners they're supposed to be supervising.
He's come to the cell, he's pushed the door, and said, listen, mate, keep it between me and you. I'm the guy.
Get the door, bro. Me personally, I've seen things in cells and I'll just let it go.
Whether it's turning a blind eye to escalating violence, more drugs,
Smells like weed. Yeah, hence what I told you, open your fucking window.
Can't even get Snapchat on that phone.
more smartphones, and even more takeaways.
Chat, how small is that phone?
Smartphones.
Chat, it's like the size of his pinky.
And
You
even
can
more
barely use that
takeaways
phone.
being smuggled in than I've ever seen before.
So yeah, look, Maggie's.
How have they got that onto the wing?
All depends on the
No
officer.
shot they got
If you
that.
really want it, you're gonna pay up 500 quid for a KFC bargain bucket.
£500, you're telling me, for a KFC bucket? That's like what? £6, chat. They pay 500. No, never
It
go to
seems
jail.
like
chat.
every day there's a new headline
Never
about
go to
prison
jail,
staff and prisoners in sexual relationships.
I might get little lips or little grits up on them.
That's mad.
I've owned up to my mistake. It's something I regret massively.
For every case that gets uncovered, there's 10 more cases not uncovered.
Even other members of staff recognised his
That means it's
behaviour was
really
creepy.
bad, chat.
Show me that body.
That is awful, chat.
We've exclusively obtained new figures
That's
which show
crazy.
a huge rise in bad behaviour from prison staff. And we've received
wouldn't
new
expect this
video
from the
footage
UK.
that shows that life inside prison is spiralling further out of control. And I'll be putting our troubling new findings to a Member of Parliament.
I found those statistics really, really shocking.
But like you said, imagine about the ones they haven't found out about. That's bad.
When I was inside, I saw how overwhelmed and understaffed the prison system was. There are over 88,000 prisoners in the
88,000
UK
prisoners,
and 23,000 prison officers, and they are
What?
increasingly demoralised. 1 in 12 prison officers quit in the 12 months prior to March 2025.
I mean, well, I can
Com-
imagine because there's pretty much no one to help them. There's more prisoners than officers, chat. That's ridiculous.
Common reasons for quitting are bad pay and low
How
morale.
is that supposed to work?
This has
chat?
resulted in the prison service having only 63% of staff that have more than 3 years experience in the job.
You try and catch me, the boy.
And the latest footage I've seen suggests that prison staff at every level could be part of the problem.
What is that in your hand?
Zanko.
How did you get it?
Zanko.
Got a bubbling. Bubs are patterning different. A little bit of change in that. You know what I'm saying? See, the wages must not be correct, innit?
Oh, so they're taking advantage of the low pay.
Smells like weed. Yeah, hence what I told you, open your fucking window.
What's that on the table?
What?
Well, there you go.
What are you saying? What are we doing? Billing it?
Yeah, well,
What are we doing?
Dylan.
That's the prison god, chat. It's like he's at home, chat. What's that
Two
about?
current prisoners reached out to me to talk about what's going on right now.
What you saying, man? How you doing, man?
Were you okay, bro?
Yeah, man. Can you tell me anything about the prison officers in there and how they're getting things in?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk too much. If they know how they're doing it, then we're going to open up down.
Oh, yeah?
And then we'll get certain things, I mean.
Okay. And if I wanted one of the guys to show me their officer, would that be easy for them to get that on film?
It's going to be hard for you to get information out of prisoners about officers and bringing things in for them. That's the bread and butter. People aren't going to jeopardize
It's like they're gonna snitch on themselves, chat.
Have you seen a rise in officers bringing stuff in?
What's happening to you? Maybe 10 it was rare back then. It wasn't rare, but it's not as bad as it is now. And constantly living outside and all that. So I mean, I obviously want to make extra bread. Wages probably not good enough.
Bro, the cost of living's real out here, bro. Hey, trust me, them wages ain't doing enough. Now it's easier to get away with it because that many officers are doing it. It's harder to get onto them, whereas back in the day, if one officer brings something in, the whole jail's talking about it.
Oh, so they're saying it's happening
Our
so
team put in
much
Freedom of Information
to the point where
requests to
it's
the Ministry
normal,
of Justice
pretty much.
for the most up-to-date stats on the prison service. A Freedom of Information request is a
That's
formal
crazy.
process that allows individuals to ask government bodies for access to certain official data that might not normally be made available to the public. They reveal that prison staff breaching security is getting worse. Breaches of security are any action that compromises the safety, security, or integrity of a prison or its occupants.
Okay.
Between January 2022 to March 2024, there were over 1,600 investigations into security breaches by prison staff. That's nearly double what it was 10 years ago. I first spoke to Nathan 2 years ago when he had just been released from prison.
Ready, yeah? All right, let me just pull this one down.
Yeah. What's going on, bro?
What's happening, bro? You all right?
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Glad to see you're still out.
I'm still out. I'm staying out.
He's got videos from his time inside that show how prison officers are illegally assisting prisoners.
Whoa.
It can start with something as basic.
What was
Prison
that?
officers are illegally assisting prisoners.
Prison officer playing FIFA with an inmate. Are they allowed console chat?
It can start with something as basic as food.
It's dirty lunch.
The standard food in prison isn't great.
But playing, is that wrong?
You can buy more food from
I
the
don't know.
canteen if you have the money.
Canteen's here.
And Nathan knows of prisoners who would pay any price for home comforts with the help of a prison officer.
I've seen it so many times, so many different occasions. It could have been like a Nando's from outside or a KFC. It could be phones, it could be drugs, it could be anything. We call it patterning up with them. I'll show you a couple of videos that I've got, bits and bobs that we used to.
Oh, wow.
Krispy Kreme donuts,
Crispy.
alcohol,
Wow.
Ciroc, Bossier.
That's nuts, man.
Crazy.
Because I'm thinking that how have they got that onto the wing?
It's like night officers. They could come through. I said it could be the day officers.
And how much would someone pay for like a bucket of KFC, for example?
Again, that all depends on the officer. If she wants
Chat,
to
wouldn't it get cold by the time they get it? Or do you reckon they warm it up in the prison and they give it to them, chat?
say to you 500 quid and you really want it, you're gonna pay a 500 quid for a KFC bargain bucket.
That's an expensive
KFC.
Expensive KFC, boy.
Normally, money is exchanged
What's the
between
ROI
prisoners
on
and
that?
prison
What?
officers via a third party.
90%, bro?
Someone on the outside will transfer the funds.
That's like what, £10? You get $4.50?
Is it mainly female officers or is
Minimum.
it a mixture?
It's a mixture. It could even be your healthcare workers. It could be your education teachers. It could be anybody. Some men could be a bit direct. He's come to the cell, he's pushed your door, and he said, listen, mate, I'm the guy. Keep it between me and you, but I'm the guy. And the woman, you gotta build it up slowly, slowly. Build up your relationship on the wing, test the waters, or be flirty. Do what you gotta do until you secure the bag.
What does he mean by I'm the
Work
guy?
your way up to
chat?
tell her that you've got a phone or something. You know what I mean? To get a number. The minute I've got your number, how have I got your number? So you're looking like the bad one already to your colleagues. If they're text messages from me to you, I've got you under my thumb. So now we're gonna work on bringing something in. And then we text them, and then once you've built a relationship with them on the phone, you sort of change it over to the how much money do they want. Like, might this be a packet of Rizzlers for £100, 200 quid? It's not hard. Like, you can disguise that anyway.
Like a grooming process.
I'll say, yeah, something like that.
Running it up in this bitch, bro.
Do you think there's more corruption in prison officers now?
100%, because that's why a lot of them are getting caught now, because they think they can just join the system and they're gonna come in one day and the dog's not gonna sniff them.
What was it like before?
It was regimented. Like, we had ex-army officers, so our beds used to be made. They have to be made. Your curtains have to be open. You're not allowed to sleep during the day. Your cell has to be clean. Now
You're not allowed to sleep during the day. So what do they do in that chat? That's crazy.
Past a man's cell and it looks like a dustbin. It's changed so much these days. They're getting younger and younger, so they've got no life experience. It's just get behind your door.
44% of new prison officers are under 30. That's more than any other age group. You can
He's
join the
slowly
service
turning
from the
into
age of
American,
18
Chad,
and you
the
don't need
American
any
prisons, like the
specific
one we just
qualifications
watched.
to be eligible. All you need is to legally be able to work in the UK,
I've seen like the
be
next 6
reasonably
years, so
fit
he doesn't get
and have
fired,
good
so.
eyesight and hearing. After just 10 weeks paid training, you're on a starting salary of over £33,000 a year, which is £4,500 less than the national average. Just under 30% of under 30s are more likely to leave than any other age group. Moses is a former prison officer who worked at H&P Only, the same prison I served some of my time. He was 24 when he started. So you was an officer when I was a prisoner. How long did you serve as a prison officer?
All in all, just little over half a decade as a uniformed officer in one respect or another. I've joined the service with the objective to try and rehabilitate, be a positive force in people's lives. I know I've had prisoners come up to me and say that you're bubbly, you're active, you're chatty on the wing, and when you come on the wing, I get a positive nature.
When I was inside, there was more younger officers joining the service, like 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds.
I mean, he
Do you
does
think
look
that
very
has
young,
something to
Chat.
do with the rise in corruption in the prison service?
Yes and no. Yes, for the fact that they're fresh and they're naive. They're thinking the world's just nice and lovey-dovey and people aren't really there to exploit. But that's where they're mistaken. During my 5-6 years, we had probably about 15, 20 people leave. Let's say I've just joined the wing. I need to get to know you as well as 59 other prisoners. But then if I leave and someone comes in again next week, you don't know how they work. I don't know what you're like. So in that respect as well, it can create problems. I'll just keep it raw, yeah? I was one of 2 black male officers at the time, yeah? So I was under a lot of gravitational pull.
Yeah.
Pull from you, man, prisoners, wanting me to be corrupted, and pull from the officers in uniform who thought I was corrupted, and then me in the middle as an innocent man knowing that I'm not doing anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, up to you, fuck him up.
The dynamics must have been
A lot of people
crazy.
have been sending in a lot of violent videos. Let me show you this.
Give it to him, lad. Give us a look at that. Fucking heavy, that, lad.
Oh, they're going at it.
Yeah, he's fat.
Yeah.
Was there situations where you saw prisoners getting beaten up or
Look at
you
his
saw
reaction,
violence
Chat.
occurring and you turned a blind
He's
eye
thinking
to it?
that's not good.
Me and my colleagues were in the office, eating crisps, relaxing, we had a hard day. We seen 3 individuals run into a man's cell. They rocked him, and we're still in the office, we're just observing. The guy in question, big bruise here, damage here, damage everywhere, So you could say we didn't react as fast as we could have in that situation. Now that prisoner, was a troublemaker.
So if you didn't like a prisoner, you would allow it to happen and not run upstairs and stop it.
So if it was a prisoner that gave you no trouble, you'd probably be more inclined to put in more effort to try and save him from getting a beating. But if he was a headache,
I
man,
think you gotta
you'd
play
just
your
walk up the
cards,
stairs
right?
instead of run up the stairs. Favoritism is in
know,
most walks
I don't
of
think
life,
it's
so
favoritism,
I agree, that
Chat.
does happen.
I don't think it's favoritism, Chat. I think you gotta play your cards right. Like, if you know you're outnumbered in a certain situation, there's an acid brawl going on, Chat, you shouldn't get involved.
We've heard reports of prison officers sharing information about vulnerable prisoners, knowing it can result in violence.
There was a colleague who told the prisoners that there was a new prisoner on the wing and he was a sex offender. When that colleague told the prisoners what that man was in for, they took it upon themselves. They attacked him. If you expose a prisoner, you're leaving them susceptible to danger.
From our Freedom of Information request, the Ministry of Justice told us that 52 prison staff were recommended for dismissal for breach of security. But they also revealed that there were 549 staff who resigned in the same time frame, after having been previously subject to an investigation. Was it dangerous as a prison officer?
Pure danger.
Moses left the service after a dramatic incident in 2021. A prisoner attacked him to pay off a debt. Moses defended himself and the prisoner was severely injured. He was formally cleared in 2023.
When you've got all them forces against you, you need to think about self-preservation. When you go above and beyond, especially at my time at H&P Only, you don't get no management support. You're on your own. There was no aftercare as such. You were just expected to get on with it.
I mean, for UK jail, chat, look at that.
There was
The
no
windows,
aftercare as such.
they're open pretty wide, chat. Look. If that's the prison.
Just expected to get on with it.
Wide.
There are so many cases about inappropriate relationships between male prisoners and female prison officers, with multiple cases each month in the news. We've seen footage that suggests there's a wide range of inappropriate behaviour between male prisoners and female prison officers. From sexual harassment on the wing to prisoners openly disclosing their relationships and going viral for flirting with inmates on camera.
Show me that body. Show me that body rapid. Show me that body rapid. Turn around. Yes, yeah.
Our latest Freedom of Information request to the Ministry of Justice shows that there's been an almost 50% rise in investigations into inappropriate relationships since 10 years ago.
That's crazy, chat.
One of those female staff was Rachel, who was 29 when she started working at H&P 5 Wells. She first worked as a security officer and later as a first line manager, which meant she was interacting regularly with male prisoners on the wing.
I was convicted of willfully neglecting to perform my duties, willfully misconducting myself.
She was given a 9-month prison sentence, suspended for 18 months, and 70 hours community service.
I'd never want a criminal record. I'm not the sort of person that ever thought I would ever be sat here now with a criminal record.
Rachel was a married mother of 4 when she started a secret relationship with a convicted armed robber while he was serving a 10.5-year sentence.
Chuck, can you imagine? You have a wife who works in jail, you have 4 kids at home, and there's a guy doing 10 years with your wife, bro. Like, bro, that's insane.
It takes a lot out of you. The hours were ridiculous. The overtime was ridiculous. It was then sort of starting to ruin my marriage at home because I was never really there. And yeah, we kind of ended up sort of just hitting rock bottom, I suppose. I took my ring off.
Rachel and the prisoner first met when he arrived on the wing at the beginning of July 2022. Rachel says that over the course of 2 weeks, they began to get closer.
He approached me with wanting help with getting this private visit with his mum. We had a few conversations.
The nature of their relationship progressed.
There was like a little bit of banter, probably a few inappropriate comments to one another.
The prisoner sent her a sexually explicit letter. Rachel then brought in 3 intimate photos and a letter of her own to share with the prisoner.
I mean, as soon as he had done it and I'd given it to him, I kind of said to him, I was like, look, you need to get rid of it, like flush it away. I'll be honest, he told me he had.
The images were found and Rachel was suspended pending criminal charges.
I didn't get on the landing. They'd found it that morning. So obviously I was suspended there and then. I knew I'd done wrong. Obviously I shouldn't have done it and I've held my hands up.
In her court case, the judge said, CCTV footage shows the 2 of you together and you were in a room privately together. Some intimacy must have taken place. Rachel denies any sexual encounter took place.
There had been no storeroom, rump, or whatever they called it.
Rachel stayed in contact with him after her suspension and visited him when he was moved to another prison. Following his release, their relationship progressed further.
My parents actually offered to let him move in so he could start the job that he'd been given. We kind of started living a normal life. He made me feel like he actually cared about me.
It was widely reported that she fell pregnant the previous year after having sex with him in prison.
The media posts are incorrect. My daughter was definitely not conceived in 2022. It wasn't till the end of June 23 that I fell pregnant. A few months later, I saw a different side to him. He assaulted me. He was recalled for breaching probations. I suppose that was like my saving grace. I've now got a baby growing inside me with someone that I never want to ever see again in my life.
After the prisoner was recalled, Rachel started to rebuild her life.
Myself and my husband sort of reconnected.
I'm not gonna lie.
The baby was born 3 months early. Instantly, they sort of had that bond.
Rachel's court case went on for 2 years. She was sentenced after giving birth, whilst her baby girl was still in the hospital.
As much as I regret the whole situation, I can't ever regret her. I suppose in one respect, I can't sit here and say I regret meeting him because I wouldn't have her, but he was the biggest regret of my life.
Rachel's story isn't unusual. There have been a number of stories about other female prison staff at H&P 5 Wells having inappropriate relationships. But this is not an issue specific to one prison. There are stories of prison officers having sexual relationships with prisoners all over the UK. I've been seeing more and more prison officers being arrested for being in relationships. Is this common in prison?
Very common. Female prison officers get a lot of attention from male prisoners. It's bound to happen. Yeah. If the officers aren't strong-minded, they get drawn into that situation.
Yeah, you can expect that to happen.
But I didn't want to tell that.
I think right now, for every case that gets uncovered, there's 10 more cases not uncovered.
Yeah, that's
if it's a one-to-one relationship, like a prisoner and a female officer, if they're both smart and keep their mouth shut, this can go uncovered for a long time. It's only when they eventually start moving it from a relationship to almost exploitation, getting that female officer to bring in phones, spice, black mamba, all the illegal substances, then it becomes too big to manage.
Yeah.
From the prisoner's perspective, it's just business. He's just trying to get in the illegal substances and sell them tenfold. I've seen a fellow prison officer have an inappropriate relationship with a prisoner and bring in illicit items. On nights, there's only like 8 officers guarding an entire prison of 700, 800 prisoners. That's why a lot of the corruption took place during the night shift. That's the best time if you want to be corrupted. With my own eyes, I've seen a high-ranking governor have an inappropriate relationship with a prisoner. We had Governor Laithwaite caught for inappropriate relationship with a prisoner.
Governor?
You usually hear about the prison officers doing it, but you rarely hear about prison governors doing it. It's less common to hear from female ex-offenders, but Beatrice has agreed to share her experiences of being inside with us, including the behaviours of male prison officers.
I was convicted of removing criminal property from England and Wales, which falls under money laundering. When I was 24, I spent 3 years on bail, awaiting a 3-month trial, and I was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to 42 months in prison.
And how long did you serve?
I did about 15 months, and I did half of that in a closed prison and half of that in an open prison.
And can you tell us a bit about your experience in the prison?
So as a first-time offender, I was really nervous, obviously, about going. I had no idea what to expect. I was terrified, There's nothing that can really mentally prepare you for that.
While Beatrice was inside, she feels she experienced inappropriate behaviour from prison staff.
When I first got to Bronzefield, I noticed an officer spending a lot of time in one of my neighbour's cells. I found this really odd. The door would be shut and he would be in there for long periods of time. And then throughout my time in Bronzefield, he would regularly comment on my appearance. He suggested he'd want to come in my cell or meet up when I was released. He would say things like he didn't want to make the other girls jealous by talking to me too much. And he would say things like, "Don't worry, I'm all yours." Just inappropriate kind of behaviour. The way he looked at you made you feel uncomfortable. And even other members of staff recognised his behaviour was creepy, in their words. If someone's behaving inappropriately towards you, I think sometimes you're well aware of that. It's a painful place to be. You've had your freedom taken away. That is the punishment. And we know that every day we're there. I think it's really hard when you're a prisoner, because even if you make a complaint, you always feel like the staff aren't going to believe you anyway, or they're going to protect each other.
While he was being investigated, was he allowed to still be on your wing?
Yeah, he was still actively in his role at that time.
That's bad.
As a result of our Freedom of Information request, the Ministry of Justice told us that there were 237 cases of prison staff investigated for sexual harassment or assault between January 2022 and March 2024. However, only 63 officers were recommended for dismissal in the same time period. We can reveal that that's almost a 400% rise in investigations compared to 10 years ago.
My fear is that instead of thorough investigations into these claims of sexual harassment, the staff are just moved to other areas of the prison, and there's no transparency or clarity into what actually happens when a complaint is put in. And since I put in a complaint, I've spoken to other women that have claimed to have sexual relationships with this man in exchange for things like clothes. Yeah.
Does this happen a lot in prison?
I think it does. While I was in Bronzefield, I heard many reports from women that there'd been other members of staff having sexual relationships with them whilst in the prison. You know, there'd been allegations that they'd had sexual relationships with women on the drug addiction wing. I think it's common knowledge in prison, even amongst officers, that this happens all the time.
All the time.
Beatrice is now using her experiences from inside prison to make changes from the outside.
I'm a first-year criminology student. I sit on the advisory board for the Prison Reform Trust, and I write about prison reform. I have no personal gain by speaking about my time in prison. It's uncomfortable to shed more of a spotlight to the fact that I committed an offence. But ultimately, I feel a duty to shed a bit of light onto what really happens in prisons today.
Wow, that's good, chat.
We tried to take our findings to both the Prisons Minister and the Chief Inspectorate of Prisons, but they both declined to take part. We have found an MP who's willing to talk.
My name's Kim Johnson. I'm the Labour MP for Liverpool Riverside. I am now the chair of the All-Parliament Parliamentary Group on the Miscarriage of Justice.
Why is the prison service having such a big problem with staff turnover and retention?
Prison officers are expected to work till they're 68, and for many prison officers, they think that was far too old. But it's about, you know, having the right pay, terms and conditions, because people are saying, well, if I was to go somewhere else, you know, whether it's like Tesco, yeah, the rate of pay is fairly similar. And I think that needs to be looked at, if I'm honest with you.
Why do you think the levels of officer corruption are so high?
Corruption happens in all spheres of life. Is it because of organised crime has got to them, you know, and is putting pressure on? Yeah. Sometimes people will bury their head in the sand and hope it goes away, because that is a much easier alternative.
Does there need to be a level of accountability from these officers?
Most definitely. They were employed to do a specific job, and if they're not doing that job, and the reason that they're in prison is to make, you know, serious money by bringing contraband into prisons, then they need to be dealt with, and dealt with heavily.
We found from our Freedom of Information request that there were more than 1,600 investigations into prison staff breaching security, which is more than double the figures from 10 years ago.
I think it's an issue that the government needs to get on top of. I will take this up with the Prisons Minister now that I'm aware of that shocking statistic.
Wow.
When I was inside, I was aware of corrupt prison officers, but our investigations show that things are only getting worse. But what can really be done about it?
I'll just leave them alone, let them do their thing.
Yeah?
Let them do their thing.
There needs to be an independent body that can look at these complaints and take them seriously, and there ought to be transparency.
There needs to be a bigger deterrent. You need to start slapping them with 10 years to life.
10 years to life.
So what might I say to a young woman thinking about applying? Don't do it. Run a mile.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A recent Freedom of Information request between January 22 and March 24. 52 prison staff were recommended for dismissal due to breaches of security. However, 10 times that number resigned for similar breaches. What action is the Minister taking to strengthening training, oversight and accountability across the prison service to address this worrying trend and prevent further security failures?
Prison officers do an amazingly positive job in our prisons. Occasionally, prison officers let themselves down, and in those cases, they're properly looked at. And we continue to keep a very tight look and learn from any issues that occur.
I think it's the recruitment process, chat. I'm not gonna lie. The recruitment, it needs to be improved a lot. But surely that's where the problem lies. Okay. That's still not enough. I don't think that's still enough, just a statement. Good video, chat.